Continuing now on Newsmax Prime, we focus on the continual piles of cash coming from a billionaire mega donor to the political left. Bill Tucker takes a closer look.
This violent protest was brought to you by Black Lives Matter, or should we say George Soros. We know because of tax filings that Black Lives Matter is heavily funded by the financier Soros, who in 2014 gave at least $33 million to support the on-the-ground activists in Ferguson, who then organized Black Lives Matter. DC Leaks, a group of self-described American hacktivists who respect and appreciate the freedom of speech, human rights, and the government of the people, has now released almost 2,600 hacked email files of George Soros that show an even more powerful side of the financier. They cover emails from 2008 to 2016. Among the files disclosed, we learned that in 2011, Soros pushed a series of actions he wanted then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to follow regarding Albania, advice that was followed by Clinton down to the recommended mediator. Other emails show a memo entitled Extreme Polarization and Breakdown in Civil Discourse, in which a Soros-funded nonprofit proposes the investigation of American critics of radical Islam. Those critics are also strongly pro-Israel, while Soros has given millions to undermining Israel's reputation as a democracy and attacking the country as racist. It might be worth remembering that and the close connection with Ms. Clinton, to whom he is a major donor, the next time Mrs. Clinton declares her support of Israel while also proclaiming her support of George Soros. It is also worth remembering the oldest lesson of power. Money talks to everyone, as the Republican Donald Trump used to remind us during the GOP debates. So don't think for a moment that Soros has limited his financial connections to just Democrats. Soros and Trump have long held business ties. The financier loaned Trump $160 million in 2004 for the construction of the Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago. Bill Tucker, Newsmax, New York.
Thanks very much, Bill. Although we need to note there's a major difference between political donations and a business deal. When you make politics business, that's where the trouble comes in. We're going to get to our panelists in just a second, but right now I want to get to a couple of your calls at 1-877-NEWSMAX. First to Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee. Johnny is on the line. Johnny, welcome to Newsmax Prime.
Well, thank you. I watch your show, and I just love you. I'm just a Southern woman.
Bless your heart. Well, I'm married to a beautiful Southern woman, too, and we met way out in the Southwest. It's still the South, but it's the West. So, yeah. Johnny, I appreciate that. Tell me what's on your mind politically tonight or in terms of the issues.
Well, I'm troubled about a lot of stuff, and if I got started, honey, I'd be on there an hour, and you wouldn't keep me that long.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to mark you down as absolutely in favor of Newsmax Prime.
Yes, and I love Donald Trump. I think he's what we've needed for a long, long time. And Hillary is up and down like a yo-yo on her channel. And if you watch her, she's all over the board. She uses a lot of Donald Trump's sayings for her campaign. And my daughter's voting for her and her dad, and I'm very upset with her.
Oh, you're going to have to use your powers of persuasion, Johnny. But we sure do appreciate your call, and have them sit down and join you in watching Newsmax Prime. Maybe that'll help too. It's good to hear from you tonight. More calls in just a second, but let me bring on one of my friends who has a remarkable personal story and really understands what goes on the left. He is the founder of the David Horowitz Freedom Center. Obviously, it's David Horowitz Skyping in, and David is the author of the book Progressive Racism. David, we appreciate your time as always on Newsmax Prime. We have these new leaked documents, and one of Soros's organizations, Open Society Foundation, actively working to influence the Supreme Court ruling on illegal immigration. In one memo it said, quoting now, grantees are seeking to influence the justices primarily via a sophisticated amicus brief and media strategy in hopes of securing a favorable ruling in U.S. v. Texas. That's the lawsuit against the Obama administration's executive action on amnesty. So there it is. George Soros using his money to try and influence the Supreme Court. Your reaction to that, David?
Well, I don't think we should be distracted. That's horrible enough, but I don't think we should be distracted by particulars. I wrote the book on Soros. It's called The Shadow Party with Richard Poe some years ago. I called him the Lenin of the anti-American left. He's a Jew hater, an Israel hater, and an America hater. But what he's done is remarkable. It's not just his money. He's put together a coalition that goes from street radicals to billionaires. The billionaire party is the Democratic Party, and Soros has organized the billionaires to control that party. He's the puppet master for Hillary. The book actually was called How George Soros and Hillary Clinton took over the Democratic Party for the left. Soros should be in jail. Somebody's got to be suing him. Of course, you can't put him in jail. He should be in jail for fomenting civil unrest, getting those policemen killed, tearing up cities. Surely there could be a civil suit. You can't expect a Justice Department that's headed by a criminal or an FBI that's in bed with them to do something about this. But hopefully Trump will win the election, and when the Republicans come in, I hope they go after Soros and shut him down.
Well, let's listen to Soros in his own words.
I'm glad you pointed out in the Tucker piece at the top of this to talk about Trump's business deals with Soros in the same breath.
Yeah, but we and I appreciate that, and we delineated the clear difference. But let's do this, David. Let's hear from Soros himself. These were his comments on what's going on in Europe with all those refugees. Listen to him commend Germany's response, letting all these people in. Here's the way he said it.
Chancellor Merkel showed great moral leadership when she opened Germany's doors wide to refugees. Unfortunately, her initiative was not well thought through. It ignored the pull factor.
So there he is talking about Europe, but heck, he loves open borders here.
Overthrowing governments this way. This man is a menace, and he has totally tied up the Democratic Party. That he has, I forget what it's called, the Democracy Coalition or something, where he spends millions and millions of dollars. He has these billionaires that he's lined up. The guy who owns Progressive Insurance is one of them. And there's no Democrat who can run for Congress without his approval. The whole Democratic Party is in his pocket. This is the most serious threat to American democracy, this man. And Republicans don't do anything about it. They don't say anything.
Well, it's a curious thing that happens on the right, because what Soros has done with his wealth, he's vertically integrated the dissent and the agitation and the candidate selection. So that's what he's done. Listen, I want to bring somebody else in on this conversation, David, out to my old stomping grounds of Buckeye, Arizona, for Rick. Rick, you heard David Soros say Trump needs to win the election. What about the ads coming out tomorrow? Just a drop in the bucket, or wise spending by Trump?
Wise spending. I'll tell you, JD, we've been looking forward to talking with you. My wife and I, we've been faithful followers of yours when you were down here in Arizona. We love you, and I'll tell you, either you or Joe O'Powell need to be our border security. I'll tell you, you need to be Homeland Security.
Well, I'm going to ask you for a reference, Rick, and I do appreciate your call, and I hope you'll call back. Now, let me return to David Horowitz. We're discussing George Soros with David, and there is something else. You talked about just how hand in glove the Democrats are with Soros and how the extremist groups are too. Obviously, Soros really doesn't want to see Trump win the election. Here's what he told the World Economic Forum back in January of this year.
Donald Trump is doing the work of ISIS. ISIS and before that Al-Qaeda discovered the Achilles heel of Western civilization, the fear of death. It interferes with reason, and people do things out of fear, which is actually harmful.
So there he is talking about fear. You got 20 seconds. Final word.
Yeah, this jerk imagines himself a philosopher. The Achilles heel of Western civilization is its tolerance for people that hate it. This man is an enemy of Western civilization and of America in particular. And he's treated like he's just a normal actor. He needs to be in jail. He needs to be charged with the crimes of destroying Ferguson, Missouri, destroying Baltimore.
Obviously, there is a litany, David, that time prevents us, but as always, we appreciate your strong opinions. David Horowitz tonight from Southern California. Up next, Nick Tate on Obamacare and the latest on Zika. Stay with us.